I'm wondering if maybe you could explain that, how a contemplation of death might help ease the fear of the forest, of dwelling in the forest.
Knowing that, death can occur at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And, because of impermanence, kids die just coming out of the womb. In every increment of 1 minute, up to 102 years, people are dying from infinite number of reasons. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, genetic disorders, or it's accidents, or it's the way you're brought up, and this and that, or people live to be older, longer. Some people are sickly, some people have relatively good health. Every person is unique, and so just contemplating that and realizing that actually I had the perfect conditions to practice the Dhamma. That was one of the meditations from the Tibetan tradition that I really valued, is contemplating the value of having a human life, and a good human life, because there's a lot of humans that have miserable lives, especially back longer, further away, where life was very difficult, and so the amount of people that are born with the freedoms to not have to worry about getting food on the table, and having the freedom to study and do what they want, and travel, and to learn new things. A lot of countries don't allow that too much. Their own personal circumstances don't allow them to do that. So it comes down to a very small percentage of, like people. How many people decide to become a monk? Not very many. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Out of 7 billion people on the world, how many monks are there? Probably less than 1 million. And so, anyway, just contemplating that and overcoming the fear of death. And if it's time to die, okay, well, can I accept that? But you have to understand what would be holding you off from dying. What attachments and what guilt, worry, remorse, and fears have you cultivated that would make your letting go of this world more difficult? So the way Dhamma sees it, this life should be a preparation actually for death. But most people ignore it. They leave it to the last moment before they start thinking, oh, I could actually die. I give the simile, or the Buddha gave a simile of, the 4 thoroughbred horses. A farmer has 4 horses, and he goes down to the horses are in a barn down at the bottom of a hill in his farmhouse. So he gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and his house door slams, and the first horse jumps up and says, "Oh, my master is coming. Let me get ready for the day's work." The other 3 keep sleeping. Then each time the farmer gets down closer to the barn and making noise, another horse wakes up, and the last one's still sleeping even when the farmer's inside the barn, and the other 3 have gotten up and they're still sleeping. And then he jabs him in the ribs with the metal gourd, and only gets up, oh, today what should I get ready? So people like that in the terms of preparing their mind for death. Like with COVID. First, there was a Chinese disease, right? And so people over here weren't worried, oh, it's not going to come to America. Then gradually, little by little, it started coming to America on the West Coast. And then still people were not worried, But little by little, it started growing, right?
Right.
And started their own family members now everybody's wearing masks, and they're following all these protocols, and people are dying, right? And it's coming down to, closer to them. Only then they start thinking about it, maybe. But one shouldn't wait that long to start thinking about it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting how you bring like Maranasati, this mindfulness of death, as well as this Tibetan practice of dwelling with the preciousness of the human life, and bringing those two together as an asset for you.
Yeah, of course, we don't want to die.
Right.
But knowing that we can't really control it.
Right.
And there's so many different conditions that could cause death that we don't know of. Even very strong athletes have dropped dead on the floor from some genetic condition they didn't know about.
Right.
So, in fact, accepting that, if it comes, it comes. But would I be ready to let go of this world? Do I still have unfinished business, so to speak, that would cause me to have to come back and repeat the whole thing over again? So that whole contemplation about the rebirths and so on. Of course, Westerners mostly don't believe in rebirth, so they may not see that as much of a thing, But even the idea of a Christian belief that they might go to a heaven or hell, that's a type of rebirth, but they don't consider it that way. But it is from the Buddhist point of view. And it's dependent on your actions, right? The idea that if you break the commandments and lead an evil life, then you might get born, down there, right? So the Buddhists believe in that too.
Right.
So that's the whole idea about practicing sila and to avoid those unfortunate circumstances.